Hey all, Mike Manrod, aka Crude Solutions, here on behalf of my other collaborators as well, Ezra Woods, Christian-Taillon, Jim Biddle, and we've had a lot of support from the Bingus Man and TechSpence and several others as well. Be sure to check out the acknowledgments page on our Control Escape Host project. But basically, I'm here to walk you through a demo for the second half that I've pre-recorded so we can time travel a little bit because it all happens pretty quickly. And then also to talk through something I'm excited about that one of our students helped with, which is we've been exploring different ways to smuggle payloads onto kiosks when they're really locked down. And our buddy Jordan has done a great job of throwing us lots of curveballs and challenges through some really high quality, systems administration work. Like he's just done great. And with those challenges, we've looked at different ways to smuggle around those boundaries. And URL restrictions are fascinating because usually companies don't restrict their own URLs, right? Like if you are a car company, you're going to have a domain that you allow, and you probably just wildcard that and allow everything in that domain. But the reality is, a large domain for any large enterprise is going to have customer facing things maybe on that domain, employee facing things, maybe the kiosk, the whatever URLs the kiosks are supposed to go to. Um, and some of the things could be like really low trust, right? Like if a customer can open a ticket and a ticket, yeah, and anybody can become a customer and a ticket can contain a file. Well, now we have, or maybe even some text with some creativity, but now we have a smuggling vector within even super restrictive domains. And there's been a few ways to approach that. One is most people allow a lot of SaaS apps, and the way to figure out what SaaS apps somebody might be allowing for a potential smuggling hole when doing, of course, only when doing ethical hacking or pen testing, is you can actually just do like NS lookup type equals text, and there will be domain registration records for all the different SaaS apps. So you'll even know in a pen test engagement from just outside DNS queries, like NS lookup queries, you can know what they're running. It's super, super cool and kind of concerning. So, but shout out to one of our students, Jake Frenzel, who, along with some of our other friends and collaborators, was doing a fun working session with us in our overclocked cyber dorm on kiosk hacking and kind of our workshop there. Um, he did some solid testing on subdomain smuggling. So the whole idea is he found an application that was low trust level, easy for him to get into, that allowed file types. And we'd already kind of talked about you can pretty much, it seems like every ticketing system, cloud app, sharing app seems to fall for the trick of take an executable like a live off the land binary or beacon payload, rename it to just like mictest.txt, smuggle it through, like attach it like it's a text file. None of them seem to be looking at file magic. They're just like, oh, it's a text file and it has text. And there's some logistical reasons why I kind of get that. But basically it lets you smuggle it on, and then if you can get that Control O dialog box, you can rename to an executable. And of course, in like attended access, if you rename it to msedge.exe, you're golden, it'll run. Now, again, shout out to Jake, super fun stuff. But as we pivot to our demo, we've been talking a lot about attended access flaws. And again, be sure to check out the repo. We've got quite a bit out there and lots of things that, as of last testing, within weeks work, but they're also making some headway on some things. So that's where we'll go to our demo here, and I'll time travel and pause a lot. What we have here is an ARM build of Windows. And then I also have some different experiences with an X64. So, if we start this, we can see we have our VM running in kiosk mode. That was the other weird thing with this update is the cursor seemed a little quirky. And you can see we've got msedge.exe. And a week ago, or before the most recent update, we could, if we renamed an executable, and here you can see I've got an auto hotkey compiled executable that like Ezra threw together a clever bunch of test payloads that we can conveniently use. And more on that later, kind of a foreshadowing of a future project. But here, now, as of this last update, just updated this today, and you'll notice it just doesn't run. It closes. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't launch. And that's not how it behaved a week ago. Furthermore, now, of course, we've got our trick that we can use. We're going to do a trick here where notice that new folder dialog box is there. That's kind of always been there. But this gets us different right-click menu options. So we're going to do the new folder. Now we're going to right-click. And of course, the open and new window gets us a different dialog box view. Now, this is new to me at least. Maybe, definitely comment if you've seen this, but now we've got these files cannot be opened dialog box. Again, I'm not seeing this on x64 yet. I'm only seeing this on the ARM version, but clearly somebody's put in some functionality to say, whoa, like we should be suspicious of this. So here we will continue to move forward, and that's in a couple contexts. We've got it both right there, and then also from the browser bar, same deal. But a trick for a lot of these types of boundaries is it gives, and I'll rewind just a little bit because this is kind of new. Notice that with this, like they made something better. This new button has a lot of new things, at least since I last looked. And that, like, I don't know when those landed, but it seemed like that could have been the February update. And those things provide some attack surface. So we're going to compress to a zip, and then we're just going to drag that into the zip, which copies it. Now we're going into our zip, and voila, it runs because whatever rule they wrote is in the context of the zip, not in the context, like, I'm sorry, in the context of the normal Explorer view. Once it's running out of a zip, not everything will run out of a zip, but if it does, it works. And then, of course, you don't really need to do all that because if we go back up to this menu, the thing still exists where you can right click a second time and get to terminal, and voila, that's your that's your escape. So, there's definitely it's interesting because there's been recent changes. I wonder if Microsoft has looked at some of what we put out there and made some adjustments, or if it's just coincidence of other trust boundaries, other abuses of overlapping trust boundaries they're trying to address. The last tidbit I'll give you today is that right-click terminal thing. I've now validated, unless locked out with GPO, that right-click open in terminal from a file open dialog box also works against improperly secured Citrix and probably other presented app workspaces too. So that could be a really quick pathway from a low trust user in what's supposed to be a constrained single application or maybe even multi-application mode straight to having like PowerShell or terminal on the server. So with that, a lot of fun stuff. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a fantastic night.